Some developments. I'm not sure that you've been really following this story very closely, but it's been quite large, I'd say, over the past few days, particularly on X. Candace Owens has essentially come out and said that the Macrons are plotting her assassination. She's saying not only are they plotting it, but they have executed the order and they have actually paid for her assassination. She's saying that this is being carried out by a legion of the French army that Macron uses. And this video here summarizes it all pretty well. So let's get into it.
And conspiracy theorist Candace Owens believes French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte Macron are plotting to assassinate her, according to an outlandish, lengthy tweet he fired off over the weekend. 2 days ago, I was contacted by a high-ranking employee of the French government. After determining this person's position in proximity to the French couple, I have deemed the information they gave me to be credible enough to share publicly in the event that something happens. In short, this person claims that the Macrons have executed upon and paid for my assassination, she wrote on November 22nd. In the post, Owens went on to claim she was told formalized assassination plans were greenlit to be executed by a team in the elite French Special Ops Unit, National Gendarmerie Intervention Group.
So just some initial thoughts that I've got about this. She's saying that there's a high-ranking French official who's very close in proximity to the Macrons who has told her about this. The initial red flag would obviously be that there would be people who would be trying to feed her fake information and trying to essentially troll her and then get her to come out and make outlandish claims that they could then really sue the asses off of her about and drag her through the courts and destroy her reputation, her career, and these sorts of things. Why they would go with this line of attack, I'm not so sure, because it can obviously have really bad publicity for the French first family. And then also, my other initial thoughts were that if you did want to take somebody out, this sounds like the sort of operation that you would undergo if you wanted to take out some sort of a high-level military general or somebody who is extremely well-guarded and not a podcaster. It seems as though there would be ways to do it a lot quieter if there was a podcaster, if you really wanted to. And you wouldn't necessarily need to go through the French Foreign Legion and all of this. So what are your initial thoughts?
Where's the proof?
Yeah.
Where's even the evidence? So let's say that we have two different standards. We have evidentiary standards, and then we have standards for proof. I think that proof standards are going to vary because different levels of evidence are going to be convincing to different people, right? So I don't know exactly what you would label as a proof standard, but I would at least say that a proof standard for me would need to reach the threshold of evidence which is convincing, right? Evidence which or would convince you beyond, some sort of reasonable doubt that something like this is going on. So I would label that as a proof standard or something akin to that as a proof standard. In this case, I'm not even asking for a proof standard. I'm just asking for what evidence there even is, right? Is there any evidence here? I'm not sure that she's not going to present any, but so far, what I've heard is that she has a source, and she verified the source, and the source is telling her these things. That's all we have right now for evidence of a Macron plot to assassinate Candace Owens, who, by the way, is an American citizen and very high profile, and that would take quite a lot. It would take quite a lot to do that. So the question then becomes, is there any evidence that's going to be presented here?
Yeah. No, I think it's a completely reasonable thing to say that there obviously needs to be evidence and to be skeptical of it. Anytime there's a claim like this, a claim that's this large, when you're saying that so if you tie it all together, the idea here is that Charlie Kirk's assassination was also a part of this broader plot. That the person who is giving her this information has also said that they know who assassinated Charlie Kirk and that it is a part of this plot because of Charlie Kirk's statements about the French government. Apparently he said some things about, tariffs on the French government, and he had some sort of a beef with the French government. Then there's also these Egyptian planes that she's claiming have been intercepting Charlie and Erica Kirk, and that the flight logs show that they were somewhat following them.
Yeah, my understanding, though, is that the timeline for these various planes was gone through publicly by multiple people debunking the timeline of these various flights, and that a multitude of things were left out, right? And so here's the thing. when you have evidence, evidence should be evaluated to see if it's good or see if it's bad. I don't think that we can use a genetic fallacy here and say that just because Candace Owens says it and says so many things which are obviously untrue, that it should be dismissed, right? That would be a fallacious form of thinking as well. Instead, what I'm proposing is that whatever evidence she has actually be scrutinized to see if there's truth to the claims or not truth to the claims.
Mm.
And right now, at least so far in this video, which I'm watching, I have not seen any, but I'm willing to listen.
making sure to specify that there was one Israeli among the alleged assassination squad. She also warned in the post that the supposed assassination plot also endangers French independent journalist Xavier Broussard, who has also vehemently peddled conspiracy theories about the gender and sexuality of Brigitte Macron.
I see.
Owens later posted that she has evidence to support her claims, including names and international accounts through which
Okay.
money was exchanged, and that
Okay.
she has informed the federal government and the White House of what she called the French and Israeli assassination plot. In her initial post, she also claimed that Charlie Kirk's assassin was allegedly connected to the French government, saying she was told he had trained with a French brigade, which she wrote was not a coincidence in a later post. And while many of the comments went on to call the lengthy tirade bat crazy or a psychiatric breakdown in real time, Telegram founder Pavel Durov chimed in on Owens' allegations of France's involvement in Kirk's death, calling them entirely plausible. Durov cited the Turning Point USA founder's previous comments about Macron's France, specifically referencing an occasion in which Kirk called for the country to drop charges against him or face 300% tariffs from the US. Durov was arrested in France in August of 2024 over several alleged organized crime offenses, as well as failing to combat the dissemination of criminal content on the messaging app. He was under strict travel supervision from the country until it was lifted earlier this month.
Okay.
Owens'
So,
slew of
so Pavlov has no beef with the French government then, right? And he's being a completely neutral arbiter here when he chimes in and says, "This is completely plausible to me that this country that I really hate and the leadership who's been trying to crucify me also was involved in and is currently involved in a plot to assassinate an American citizen." Um, yeah, I think that there's lots of red flags there to be raised the other direction on that chime in, yeah?
Yeah.
allegations comes amid a lengthy feud between the conspiracy theorist and the French president and first lady. The couple has been afflicted for years since Emmanuel Macron's
Anyways, moving on now, we've got this one here as well, which is Candace Owens, one of her more recent tweets 10 hours ago. Our show will be off air this week. As an update, both the White House and our counterterrorism agencies have confirmed receipt of what I reported publicly. Emmanuel Macron attempted to organize my assassination per a source close to the first couple. Also, I will again state that the French legionnaires were involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination, but they did not act alone. For all of you who doubted my claims, you can now look to the President of the United States and our intelligence communities to issue a statement to confirm whether I am telling the truth.
Okay, so let's dive into this tweet too. I want you to notice that there is a bit of equivocation going on. Where is it, Jake? Remember, we talked about the fallacy of equivocation. Where is it at?
To all of you who doubt my claims. Hold on, I really want to get this.
It's not quite equivocation, but it's close.
Is it receipt or
Yes.
evidence? Yeah.
Yeah. So, as an update, both the White House and our counterterrorism agencies have confirmed receipt of what I reported publicly. What the does that mean? They received it? That she sent it to them and they sent her back a confirmation saying, "Okay, we got it." Right? Notice that nowhere in this does she say that the White House and intelligence agencies have confirmed. Do you notice that the word confirm is nowhere in there?
Right.
That instead, the word they have confirmed receipt of what I reported publicly.
Which
What the
could be read as have confirmed the receipts.
Yes, well, it could be read as they confirmed the receipts, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
doesn't that seem a bit like equivocation there? Instead, it reads to me like what's trying to be said there is they received my reports, right? They received my reports. But it makes it sound like they have confirmed the receipts of her reports, right? And that's not really what's going on, is it? Nowhere in there is the word that we need the most, confirmed.
Yeah. And it says you can now look to the President of the United States and our intelligence communities to issue a statement. Is this to say that they're sort of prepping and they're going to issue a statement, or is this to say once again what she normally does, where she says, "Well, I've sent it to you guys. The ball's in your court now. You guys have to say
Yeah,
something
for
about it."
all of you who doubted my claims, and here's the next part, right? You can now look to the president and the intelligence communities to issue a statement to confirm whether I'm telling the truth or not. What's the ambiguity here, do you think?
In the statement that they're going to confirm.
Well, it's here, right? For all you who did, you can now look to the president or the intelligence communities to confirm it or not, right?
Mm.
Not actually saying here
That
that
they're
the
going to.
intelligence community and the president are going to do that or issue any sort of statement on this at all, but rather that you need to look to them to do it. In fact, kind of using the ambiguity of language to say that they're going to, when in fact that's not what's being stated here. Actually, what's actually being stated here is you need to look to them to confirm this, whether or not I'm telling the truth, not that they're going to.
Yep. It's sort of sort of could be seen as baiting them to do it.
Well, no, the entirety here is the living in ambiguity. I didn't actually say that the president and the intelligence communities are going to issue a statement on this. I was telling my supporters that you should be putting pressure on them to issue a statement on this, right?
Mm.
Or if they do issue a statement on it, she can then say, "Well, see, I told you they were going to issue a statement on it." Right? It's
Mm.
very well crafted wordplay, but it's also for the low IQ mind. This sort of vague ambiguity in language is designed specifically to fool people. It's designed specifically to give impressions which aren't there. They've confirmed receipt of what I reported publicly, not confirmed the receipts of what I reported publicly, though that's what's meant to be said there. For
Mm.
all of you who doubted my claims, you can now look to the President of the United States intelligence communities to issue a statement. The inference there is that the intelligence community and the president are going to issue a statement, but that's not actually what's being said, is it? And so
Mm.
all of this is a carefully crafted and very contrived way in which to make implications that you can then backtrack on later as things that you did not actually say. This is pretty par for the course for people who use ambiguity in language because they don't want to actually make firm claims about anything.
Mm. Yeah, interesting. Well, there was another post here that I wanted to go through. So Project Veritas, which I don't really trust anymore, if I'm honest, after they booted out James O'Keefe, because what the hell is Project Veritas without James O'Keefe? Says Candace has been a target of government for years. And the quote says, "We need to blackmail her, Candace, faster." Mary Barr Daly, former senior DOJ official, daughter of former AG Bill Barr. So it says, "Hi, I need you to start working on the something something and the Candace Owens case, question mark. Armstrong will give you the commands, but we need to focus on black and something first. Work with Armstrong on this. Second, send some underage girl to secure him. He's an easy target. The harder one is Candace because she's very resistant. Gather the group to come up with a good strategy, but don't waste time for it something something." And then it says, "Have you been working on the issue with Candace Owens? We need to blackmail her faster." And then the other person says, "AW want to know if they need to focus on Candace or." And then it says, "Candace first. I'm so angry at her that I can't stop thinking. If the things she says about Klasick are taken seriously, they will investigate the use of money in the election campaign. We have to bring out material to destroy her reputation before she gets to us."
Well, now that's very clear cut. So scroll back up. So this is supposed to be Mary Barr Daly, senior DOJ official and daughter of the former AG Bill Barr,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is not really very defensible, is it?
I mean, if these are legitimate text messages, then yeah,
If they are legitimate text messages, yes.
people are trying to blackmail Candace Owens.
That would be correct. Now, this happens constantly inside of this space. It wouldn't surprise me if right now there was 100 text messages about myself or you or various other people in this space about how you need to blackmail them or destroy their reputation before they do X, Y, or Z, right? Or their arguments are taken seriously, et cetera, et cetera. So That actually would not surprise me if this was in fact the case, and if it is, these people need to be strung up. But that's actual evidence, at least. It hasn't
Mm.
been confirmed, but it is evidence.
Yeah, I mean, I think last thing that we can sort of say on this is we just have to wait for what happens next, the evidence, if you will, because I mean, it's a huge claim, and she's even saying, and we're not going to go through this because this is a little bit sort of like cumbersome for the show, really, but that the Macrons, and particularly Brigitte Macron, in summary, might actually be a product of the 1971 Stanford experiment, and they might be a product of MK Ultra, and that the Macrons actually there was documentation that's revealed that after World War II, a family in Bamberg, Germany, with the last name Trogno was transported to Amiens, where they're from, as refugees. World War II, the CIA began the Operation Paperclip, where they gave new identifications to Nazi scientists and inserted them into a government. So she's saying it's plausible that Brigitte Macron is a product of a Nazi family that was brought to France after that and then was operated on in Operation MK Ultra.
You know, there's enough there if the text message chain is true, there's enough there to go after to unveil. Like some of this, they just destroy their own credibility. It's like you have to have some real evidence for this stuff, man.
Mm.
You got to have real evidence for this stuff.